Hey guys, what's going on? It's Justin here. It's been a long time since I posted a video, but I'm back at it. I've had a lot of stuff going on, trying to make sure that my daughter has a treatment that she desperately needed, and so I traveled a little bit for that. Also, just kind of other little bitty things going on between work and personal life and different things like that. Millennial Mike, if you haven't already seen his channel, you definitely need to check him out. It's basically where I got my start. But I had a few people reach out to me, and they tended to ask the same questions as one another, and I figured I'd make a video solely for them. So one of the questions was, how do you find properties that's under market value? So I get asked this question a lot by not only like YouTube, people that watch the videos, but also different real estate meetups. Like beginners are always asking, like, how do you find properties that basically are way undersold? And because I mean, the goal of real estate is to build your money quickly, and the best way to do that is find properties that are undervalued. So regardless of your strategy, whether it's BRRRR, like me personally, mine is to buy properties that needs just a little bit of work, put that work into it, and then basically keep it for the long term. Go to the bank, take out a loan against it, buy another property. So personally, what I do is I try to locate properties that are in need, as in maybe the property management company is not as good, very bad property management company, the owners potentially are just tired of consistently losing money over the years, and so they decide, oh, I want to sell it because nobody wants a property that they can't make money on. And so what tends to happen is, if you don't hire a good property management company, some recent properties that I bought, they let the tenants do anything that they want. So for instance, one property I seen, I walked into it, did my inspection, ended up leaving, and when I got the seller's disclosure, the seller didn't disclose that there was like any type of animals in the property. They just said that they didn't know. So when the agent had sent the leases over to me, I was reading through the leases, and this tenant was not supposed to have any type of animals in the property. However, this tenant had a dog. So when I began to ask the agent, I was then told that the property management company felt bad for the tenant and allowed them to have this animal, even though in the contract it clearly states that there's not supposed to be any animals, and not just let them have this animal, but did not charge any type of pet deposit. And so basically this animal did a lot of damage to this property, and if the owner would have kept this property and I would not have bought it, they would have had to do all the repairs needed to fix everything that an animal was inside of, and they had no clue that the animal was even there. However, the property management company knew that the animal was there. So to kind of circle that back around, finding properties under market value. Basically, my strategy is find very bad property management companies, locate owners which want to get out of properties, take the current market rent, and basically multiply it for the rent multiplier in that area, and that gives me a potential estimated value of the property once it's fixed. So a baseline would be like the rent multiplier be like 110. So for instance, let's say I have a property that's $300,000 to purchase, a fourplex, and the tenants are all paying let's say $500 a piece for a 2-bedroom, which I know that's unrealistic numbers. It should be a lot higher, but we'll say $500 a piece for a 2-bedroom. So we got 4 tenants, so that's $2,000 a month, and we multiply that by the rent multiplier, so 110. Now every area will be different, so this is just a baseline, and you can usually figure these out more by looking at other properties that were sold and taking the rent and calculating it, or maybe you had appraisal done in that area, so you kind of know what the rent multiplier is. But basically you would take the rent times the 110, so $2,000 times 110, so $220,000, or I'm sorry, $220,000, and that would give you an estimate of what the property's worth. However, another question to kind of tie this all in together that I received was, how do you know how much rent is for that particular property in that area? How much is it worth? So if we did the rent multiplier and we only looked at what current rent is, which is $2,000, and you multiplied it by 110, we would know that that property potentially is worth $220,000. However, what I usually do is there is this website called Rent-O-Meter. I'll attach it in the link below. But you go to that website, you type in the address, and in the bigger cities or the cities, this won't work as much in the country areas. But you can type in the address, put in how many bedroom, how many bath, and then once you do that, it'll give you a projection of how much the rent should be. The other way to potentially see how much the rent would be to look up Zillow, go to rent, and just simply try to put in the criteria as closely as possible as the property that you're purchasing. So this property that I'm giving you an example of was actually very close to the numbers of one that I purchased originally. So it told me that it was worth $220,000. I ended up actually purchasing this property for $276,000. Whenever I looked up the value of the rent, the value told me that each unit should be renting for around $900 to $1,000 on average a month. So let's go with 1,000 because that's easy math. So each tenant pays $1,000 a month. So 4 tenants, so $4,000, and then you multiply that by 110. So that would give us a total of $440,000. So instantly, you know a baseline of what that property should sell for, and you can always be conservative and say, "Oh, I think it's maybe only worth $400,000." But at the end of the day, the whole purpose of this is you always want to get your rent at least 1% of whatever the total property cost is, and to make sure you cash flow. So in that case, I located the property by finding the bad property management company. I seen that it was in need of repairs, and I did my math to see basically what I think that it's worth currently and what I think it's worth in the future. The other thing that I would definitely like to recommend is, if you have not seen David Chandler Smith's YouTube channel, I would definitely check it out. He has an app called Rental Calculator. You can get it on any Google Play or Apple Store. And this is a very good tool for beginners. So when I first got started, I used this tool to basically calculate what the rents should be, if I would cash flow, taking into account different things like management, maintenance, other items, property taxes, etc. And so after I calculated what I think the current market value is and the future market value, it was easy to calculate how much my cash flow would be, and which put me in a really good position of current state of where I'm at now. So now we know how to calculate current value and future value, and how to find properties under market value. The next question I got asked was, how do I determine the cost to rehab and what the ARV value may be after rehab? So personally, I still struggle with this, but I am a lot better than what I was when I began investing. So it all depends on your maintenance team to say, how do I come up with the cost to rehab? And how good of people you have on your team. And building a network and a team is very, very important. It doesn't matter if you're just getting started, or if you're got 50 properties in. You need a team, because at the end of the day, you really need the mindset of, yes, I'm going to make money for myself or my family, but I'm also going to have a team where I can help them make money. Because if you have that mindset, you can also build a good connection between your maintenance people. And you can be able to ask them at any time, hey, can you come out and look at this property and see what it needs? So for instance, one person I built on my team, his name is Billy Oliver, and with Oliver's Heating and Air. He's really great, and he's very thorough. And so anytime I get a property looked at, and I'm in the beginning stages of buying a property, I always have him come out and look at a property and say whether I need new AC units, or I need or they're okay, or basically how much money am I looking at in the near future. Because what you don't want to happen is you don't want to just hire random people and get somebody to come out that just tells you everything's bad and you basically need to fix everything. If it honestly needs it, then that's one thing, but you need reliable people to teach you how much you're potentially going to pay out in repairs. And so cost to ARV value, you can kind of judge that yourself after a few years of experience. It depends on your area. And to be able to figure out, the cost to fix everything. But what I like to do is just build a network and hire those individual people. One thing you can do when you're starting out, though, is either maybe have some type of past experience where you can do like drywall or different things like that. Or maybe, ask the seller, say, hey, can I get somebody out here to look at the items that need to be fixed after your inspection? I've had several properties that I've either purchased or looked at, and I've gotten an inspection done on, and then if I didn't have someone that did that type of work, I just called somebody and I said, hey, can you come out and look at this property and tell me what it would take to fix it? And usually you can get a pretty good idea of what it's going to cost and try to negotiate with the seller a little bit to help cover those fees. And then the last question, what is it worth after it's completely fixed? So I think we kind of discussed that earlier, slightly. Mostly what I do is all multifamily. So single family homes, this may not work as much, but personally, my niche is multifamily, and so I take the rent and I basically multiply it by the 110 factor, and that gives me a baseline of how much the property is worth. The more the rent, the more the property's worth. And so if I make the property look super nice, I obviously know that I can get more in rent. If it looks super, like, really bad, then I can't get as much. So for some of the, YouTuber, the people that's watching YouTube, I think in the beginning it's very easy to say, like, what if? And I believe that if you're not ready to pull the trigger like today, maybe just, network, find some maybe contractors that you like, and simply just try to build your network. Whether that be going to real estate meetups, that contacting people in your particular area. There's tons of people out there that's willing to help you, and they would love to. Me personally, I'm out of Kentucky. Millennial Mike, he's a great guy. He'd love to help anybody. I've personally seen him help new beginner investors, and he's out of Seattle. You got Mazske. He currently lives in Panama. I'll also attach his channel. He does a lot of investing out of Gary, Indiana. But basically, all you need is, just a few people to help guide you in the beginning. And then once you have that guidance in the very beginning, let's say you buy like one property, you'll quickly learn, what you need to know and what you wish you would have known. Every property that I've bought personally has all been a learning experience. I can't say that, even to this day, I can't say that any deal is perfect. For instance, let's say the first property I purchased, I was so excited. I said, I'm going to pay all my seller's closing fees and my closing fees, and it ended up costing me $7,000 that I wasn't expecting. My second property, I ended up coming to realize that you can't use a personal line of credit to purchase a property unless it sits in your bank account at least 3 months. And I didn't know that until right at closing, and I had to figure out how to come up with 5% more money super quickly, which was about $15,000, which private money lending came into the equation on that property. My third property, I come to realize that I should have had a lot more thorough inspections, and I was just excited to get it. It was under market value, but I didn't realize how much work it needed. And paint and new flooring covered it up really well. So I learned my lesson on that one. But basically what I'm trying to get at is no deal is ever going to be perfect. And until you actually jump into a property and you get started, you're never going to know what you need to know. And you'll gradually build that knowledge over time. And if you're investing in a particular area, definitely reach out, go to the real estate meetups, add Facebook groups, talk to people. People are willing to help for the majority of them. And I highly suggest, if you haven't already followed Millennial Mike or Mazske Finance or Michael Zuber, even David Chandler Smith, like all four of those guys are really, really great at basically talking about different ways that they invest, different ways that they acquire properties, They're always willing to help. They're great real estate investors, and I highly suggest watching them. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. I'm going to be posting some more videos throughout the next few weeks and try to be a little bit more consistent. And thank you guys.